What's up, Amazon sellers? Are you struggling to find products to resell on Amazon? Well, in this video today, I'm going to share with you some of my most asked questions about sourcing products on Amazon. I'm going to share my answer to each question. Stay tuned. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson. I've been selling on Amazon now, doing online arbitrage for the last 5 years. Now in the UK, I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller, check this out. And in the USA, I'm a 6-figure Amazon seller, check this out. And hopefully we're going to expand into another marketplace in the near future. Now, if you're interested in learning how I've done it and what I'm learning on my journey, do make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And obviously you're going to be notified every time I release a new video sharing everything that I'm learning. Before I jump into the content today, let me tell you that the next chapter or the next section I'm going to go into, I'm going to share with you some extracts from my YouTube live, which I stream every single Monday and answer your questions. Now, I've made these questions into a whole content piece today that's going to really help you with your Amazon sourcing. Now, by going through this video, you're going to have an idea of certain issues that other sellers are raising, and also they'll use it as a guide when finding products to resell on Amazon. So what I'll do now with you is I'll share a compilation of questions and answers from that weekly live about sourcing products on Amazon. Check this out. In your own opinion, what is more efficient to use, Buybot Pro or Keepa? Thanks, newbie here. It's kind of like, would you rather use a car or a shovel? Like, they're different. Keepa is a historical tool which tells you about the products over time, whereas Buybot Pro has a lot of the Keepa data in it. Not all, but quite a lot, most of the key data that you're going to want. So you can use that. Buybot Pro is a calculator as well, which is going to help you do profit analysis, which is really fundamental. So if I could only have one, I'd definitely choose Buybot Pro, but I would definitely get Keepa as well because I think it's valuable and I really like the tool. I think it's so powerful. So efficient to use, both. What are the main must-have tools to use in combination when starting out? Keepa, FPM, tool conscious, schema, of course. Look at oh my god, there's a video I created probably about a year ago called how to get started selling on Amazon arbitrage with a budget for maybe less than £500, something like that. I literally talk you through step by step what tools I would buy, when, and what discount codes to use to get the maximum trials. You can look at fasttrackfpa.com/tools, but I would really recommend looking at that YouTube video. It's very, very useful. How to get started on Amazon with £500. You'll see it as one of the videos. Probably about a year ago I did it. Do you suggest buying leads early on, sir? Yeah, definitely. Even if it opens you up to new stores. Fast-track FBA leads, fasttrackfpa.com/leads. We do in the US and UK. It just gives you lots of new stores. They're very, very helpful. And also, once you find one lead, you can then use that to find other leads. What percentage of sourcing is done through tactical arbitrage? It seems saturated to third-party sellers and doing themselves. 0. And I'm just going to be really crystal clear. I've met many Amazon sellers who are doing way more than me, up to 10 million a year away. They're using 0 sourcing software. They all use VA, manual sourcing. Trust me. That's it. Sourcing software is great to get you going. They're like lead services. I'm not saying it's wrong, but if you look at the bigger sellers, the people who are doing volume, they just don't use it. We don't use it. No one else uses it. I just don't no, we don't use it. So I hope that makes sense. It's okay to get going, but most people drop off it. One product's BSR 200,000, but then there are 190 reviews, so which one should we trust for? Don't count reviews just general. If those reviews over the last 15 years, I'd probably that isn't many. But if it is, I would look at reviews over the last 3 months. That's it. Recent reviews, that's what you care about. BSR, cool, that's pretty recent. Look at the recent reviews. That should align with the BSR. So I'm guessing 200 is probably not selling very well. And you probably had 1 review in this year. That'd be my guess. Some of the products do not have high reviews, I have 5 or 6, but BSR is good. Exactly the same as before. Look, you can use BSR. I would probably use BSR over reviews. But reviews I try to use to confirm BSR is right. Or if I can't use BSR, then I'd use reviews. So I'd use BSR first. Always look at the recent BSR and the recent reviews. That's what I'm saying. I've sourced a very good product, but there are about 12 FBM, no FBA. Should I be worried in terms of FBMs? That's fine. Don't worry about that. So 2 things. Run the brand through the IP checker. 2 things. I would also go have a look at the same brand and try and look for other listings of that brand with FBA sellers. If there are none across every seller, every listing, I'd be a bit so if you got Nike shoes, try and find another Nike listing whereby there are FBA. If there are 20 listings and none of them are FBA, I'd be a bit and then I just really double check your calculations. Even it might be a big item, shipping it to Amazon might be cost prohibitive. Just really double check everything. And then if that works, just buy a couple, go test it. It's not the end of the world. Just as long as you're not getting an IP complaint, fine. Also, so I look at the historical buy price. Just make sure that the lowest buy price over the last year is not lower than your break even. If that's happened, then it could be that your drop shippers might drop down. But I would be guessing that they're competing. Like, I think you should be fine, just as long as it's not going to get you an IP complaint. That'd be my thing, and then check your calculations. I think most of our products we have some up to 180 days, like everything's gone after 180 days. Majority, maybe 2% go over 90 days. 2% of stock goes over 90 days. That's about it. So everything's within 90 days. We're pretty high volume because we've got the cash. It's kind of like, if you've got lots of cash, you want to slow down because you don't make money in cash, you make money in stock. So if you've got lots of cash, you want to convert that cash to stock. You want the majority of your assets in stock because that's where you make your profit. But if you're running out of cash, you should decrease the amount of stock you've got, i.e. increase the speed of turn. But if you've got lots of cash, you should slow down. So we've got lots of cash, but we're churning it about right. So we don't have too much. I say that though, but like sometimes it's crazy. Like not last week, the week before, we ran really low in the UK, but this week we've got like 6 figures to spend in cash available spend. So interesting.
What's the highest BSR you go for? My problem basically is if I get off buying high BSR items, any advice, 15K is decent for household category. Generally speaking, for new starters, I'd probably say about 100,000. But like, again, read the Keepa chart. Like, there might be a BSR which is like 50,000, for example. Let's say, for example, 50,000 selling 20 units a month. There's 50 other sellers on the listing, all FBA, all at the same price. I wouldn't be touching that. But there might be a BSR, which is 110,000, selling like 4 units a month, but it's like $20 or £20 profit and like no FBA competition. Then like, yeah, I'll definitely give that a go. At the end of the day, I think the real question is BSR is a good metric to think about, but I would probably look at how much profit am I going to make per month if I buy this product, once we consider the listing sales divided by the number of competitors which are on or around the buy box. That would kind of be like a metric I'd look at rather than BSR. BSR is a good guide, but it's not perfect.
Hey Thomas, hope you're well. I saw the recent video about documentation and account health. If I find a product that can be sourced cheaper in the EU countries than the UK, would Amazon accept an invoice from the EU supplier of the same product, even though they're not based in the UK, FBA seller above concerns pet cosmetic products? I don't know the answer. That's my honest opinion. I think second of all, you're probably going to get product authenticity complaints. You know, not saying you are, but basically, if you did buy this product and what you're looking at saying, I buy the product today, I sell it, and then one day an issue comes, and saying if that issue comes, what would the issue say? So it'd either be a product authenticity complaint, IP complaint as in like intellectual property, or maybe like parallel distribution agreement or something like that. I would go look for examples of those three. I don't know off the top of my head. And the question I'd be asking is, when Amazon asks you to submit documentation, do they ask for an UK-based supplier? If they do, then you've got a problem. That's the real question you're trying to ask. I don't know the answer, sorry, but that's the way I'd approach it. I would go look at examples of the complaints and see what Amazon says in regards to what it's looking for from the invoices of the supplier you're buying from. If the EU invoice matches all that, you're fine. Give it a go.
I see an FBA sense anyway. Could be IP alert. Fast Track FBA brand checker. You go to fasttrackfba.com, go to the brand checker, click on that. Also, you'll see a list. If the brand is on there, don't buy it. Also, the other ones, look at the Keepa chart. If you're seeing like less than 2 sellers for the history of time, or most of the time recently, probably got an IP alert. Like, don't buy it. You want to see a history of other people selling it consistently. That means it's, it'll happen. You won't get IP alerts.
Since Amazon scrapes the other retail websites, how would you find profitable products? Use coupons, cashbacks. Okay, cool. Okay, you're making an assumption. Your assumption is, since Amazon scrapes the other retail websites, they are the same price as the other retail websites. They're not. They just know the other prices. You've got to be mindful of that. Let's say, for example, Amazon's $10 and something else is $10, and then the other one goes down to $5. May go down to $5, they may not. Amazon just knows the price. They don't know it for everything. They know it for pretty much the core products. Call it the sub 100,000. But for you is, yes, they scrape it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are the same price. There is a difference. And it's because of that difference. That's where you buy low, resell high for a profit, hence make money. So, Map, hope that makes sense. I can't, Ross, like, if I answer that question, I want to give you a hypothetical. Let's say, for example, I tell you right now, go to Boots, source Boots. What do you think is going to happen? Everyone's going to go source Boots. And then it's going to work for 2 weeks, and then it's going to go downhill. This isn't about, your job is to identify what sourcing techniques, what methodologies are working best for your business. We buy a different ROI, sales velocity, profit performance than other people. So what works for me doesn't necessarily mean for you. I might be happy buying at 10%. Sometimes we do. I won't lie about that. If it's a replenishable and we think it's going to get back up, 10% is fine, no problem. For you, you'd be like, no, that's just stupid. I can't give you the answer, but what I can say for you is every hour of every day, record what you're doing and reflect on it and be like, what's working? And then do more of that. I promise you, the USS Ultimate Sourcing Sheet teaches you that. It's like, 80-20, 80% of the work, the results you get come from 20% of the work. Figure out what the 20% is. That's all I can say. And the reason is, and then don't tell anyone, because if you tell other people, they'll start doing that as well. That's your USP. That's your unique selling point. Why you add value.
I hope you're all good. How close do you go when buying items exactly the same as the one saying on Amazon? For example, the product in the flavor of strawberry. But for example, if there was a product in the flavor of strawberry and the website says strawberry delight and the contents are the same inside, is it okay to buy? Look, long story short, in regards to the thing, Amazon stipulate they have to be exactly the same product. If they're the same product, but the packaging's been updated, that's fine. And also you need to make sure the packaging kind of looks the same. Maybe it's just a slight tweak, same barcode, for example, fine. But if it's kind of like one is 450 mil, the other one's 460 mil, the answer is no. It's not a packaging update. That is a different product because of a different size. So long as it's not like a change, like you can't quantifiably prove they're different, i.e. package size or quantity. But if it's maybe an updated packaging, my question would be like, if I received that product, would I feel like, oh my God, like this isn't what I ordered? That's what I'd be looking at. So yeah, for you, I'd really be thinking about that. Like if you received this product, you ordered this on the website and received this, would you be like, oh, okay, cool, it's the same product. Fine, just looks a bit different. Fine. Like if that's fine, then no problem. But if it's like, oh my God, this is definitely not the same product, or like I might complain, I might send it back, but I wouldn't risk it. You just don't want to get the returns. It's just hassle. But again, if it's quantifiably different in regards to like size, unit, don't do it because they're different. But if it's kind of like an updated package, fine, just so long as the updated package isn't completely different. Again, you're really looking about would a customer return this or raise a complaint? That's the real answer. Is it better to stay away from the big well-known websites when sourcing? No, not at all. My God, like if you were to talk about like little website or Walmart, I would choose Walmart. Why? Because like Walmart have bigger range, they have more buying power, so they're probably gonna give you bigger discounts, and that works. Yeah, you can have more competition, but like at the end of the day, like so much opportunity. Like there's a multi-million-dollar industry just for reselling on like from Walmart onto Amazon. No, I would definitely do it. And even if your margins aren't as big, it's not really a big issue. There is an advantage to go for the small ones, definitely, but also you generally can't buy bigger options. There's going to be less deals as a percentage of overall supply, cashback, etc., etc. That's what I just think. So, and you can probably buy less bulk. Depends how big you are. If you're a small seller, small websites fine, but big websites are good as well. If you're a big seller, I probably wouldn't go for small websites, because they just can't do the volume and it's a bit of a hassle. Ross P, what happens if you brought a product that you thought was the same, it turns out to be slightly different and the customer complains? What happens with this? Well, they complain, so either give them the money back or return the item. That's it. Like this happens all the time. Hopefully, what are you going to think about? Like this is going to happen. This is a fact. Like it will happen. So the answer you're really trying to think about is like, how can I minimize the percentage of the time this happening? So that's obviously good sourcing, making sure you're doing the matching, also the warehouse doing good checking as well, and that's about it really. And then obviously identify, and then probably like only going deep once you know it's the right product and you've got a good supplier, and doing test buys. That's all I can probably really recommend. Is it safe to source from Instacart in the USA? Are there any IPO risks? Long story short, Instacart, I don't really know, but Instacart, as far as I'm aware, is like an eBay, for example. So it's like a platform. Like I would personally probably stay away. Why? Because third-party sellers and you can't guarantee proof of authenticity. The thing is, you might be okay, but if you get one IP complaint and inauthentic, and Amazon asks you to prove where it came from, what you need to be able to prove, and Amazon says this very clearly on their website, is that when they ask you for an IP complaint for inauthentic or anything, or when they ask you to prove authenticity of the products, they're asking for documented evidence to show that the product can be traced back to the manufacturer through what's known as the supply chain. I.e., like, let's say, for example, me, I buy, water, and I buy water from Walmart, and then Walmart buy it from the manufacturer. So there's a supply chain there. Now, Amazon doesn't need to see every single document or every purchase order going back, because that's not going to happen. But what they accept is that Walmart is a good, reputable brand, and they will be buying legit products. So long as I can get back to Walmart, i.e. with an invoice from Walmart, they're happy with that. And I'm not saying that they're happy, but they've never complained when we've provided Walmart invoices. So I hope that makes sense. Now, the problem with Instacart is the suppliers you're buying from, you'll struggle to be able to show that you got those products from the manufacturer. If not, they could be from like China, for example. So that could be the issue. If you can prove about the manufacturer, fine. If not, don't worry.
Josh, hi. I'm really struggling to source products with little, if no profit at all. Any suggestions? So watch my sourcing playlist. Number 2, it takes time. It really takes time. If I give you a statistic, my best sourcer in my UK business will generally find about, last year, will generally find about 20,000, maybe a bit more, £25,000 worth of products we buy every single week. Now it's currently between about 12 and 15. That's my best sourcer. So to put it in perspective, what are we saying? Well, the market's changed. It's harder for them to do. Right now it is challenging. And that is my best sourcer. So that sounds like a lot. And if I give you a kind of statistics to work by, generally we're looking at 20% ROI. We're not too worried about cash profits, 20% ROI. And we have kind of increased it. I think we were around about 15, now we're back up to 20. So 20% ROI, generally you could call it like a pound profit. And we have like 50p prep fees and like 24p ship fee. That's pretty much our kind of criteria we look for. It is harder, and a couple of things you've got to rethink about. Number one, COVID's changed. People are now buying, they used to buy lots of products because they couldn't do anything. Now they're buying services as well as products. So everything used to go on product spend, all the spare money. Now the products have come down a bit, and then people are spending a bit more on services like cinema, restaurants, because you never used to be able to do that. Also, number 2 is just be aware that Ukraine does a lot around food, fertilizer, that pushes food prices up. Inflation right now is a big problem. Everyone's talking about it in the news. So what does that mean? Everyone's probably just calming down a bit on spending. So there's less demand in the Amazon ecosystem from customers. So the net result is that prices are now going down because there's still a lot of supply. So just be mindful of that. Even Amazon themselves have got like way too much storage space. It isn't easy. Got to keep trying. Like I promise you, like sourcing, especially if you're getting started, it is challenging. Like it takes hard work. If you're just starting out, what's a good metric to think about? VAs from the Fast Track FBA VA Academy, we recommend month 1, they should 2 to 5 deals per day that we buy. They're sourcing 8 hours a day. Month 2 is 5 to 8 deals per day that you're buying. Month 3, 8 to 12, we change the metric slightly, that you're buying per day, on average per day. So if you're kind of working on that, month 1, month 2, month 3, that should kind of give you a good guide of how you're performing versus our own internal VAs or external VAs to the VA Academy. I'm from the UK. What's been the best way of sourcing products? Are you reverse sourcing, using websites for organic deal, vendor sourcing? All of them, Ross, honestly, all of them. If you just do one method, like you're wasting a lot of opportunity. Like, let's put it this way. Let's say, for example, right now you get a mailing list. So they send you an email about lots of great products. Then you go through and you find one of those products is a good deal, and maybe 2 of them are a good deal. But also on those 2 products, cool, 2 deals. Then what you do is you notice that there's the same seller on both of them as a competitor. So you look at his storefront, and then you go look at other products he does. So now you're doing storefront stalking, and then you'll find the other products that you don't have. Then you're going to reverse source them. You find some suppliers. Now you find that 3 of them are supplier, but they're not really profitable enough yet. So what do? You then go get a voucher code. You find a voucher code, and now you got a voucher code. Like, fantastic. So now you're doing voucher code sourcing on that supplier and looking for other products that are available. And then maybe like one of the products is like a chicken cat food, and you go, oh well, let's look at the beef cat food. That's now leaf sourcing. You're just going down a rabbit hole of kind of different things, but you're doing lots of different methodologies around that. And that's how you get the best number of deals. It isn't one methodology. It will start with one, but it will kind of evolve. And I hope that really makes sense. So that's why I say, like, don't ever look at one deal sourcing method in isolation. You've got to keep learning, trading. And that's how the best people do it. And really understand, I had a conversation with Gavin Sweeney, which was great. And he talked about how, like, he got a voucher code for, I think it was like ASOS or something. And what they realized is it said use once, but you could actually reuse it. So he put like 4 or 5 grand through on one voucher code because they'd messed up. But it's because he just really started playing. He's like, wow, this is going to work. You can even stack voucher codes and clearance options. There's lots of stuff you can do. But ultimate goal is probably spend per hour. That'd be the best metric I'd look at. So doing all these sourcing methods, how much money can you spend on deals per hour worked? For reverse sourcing, using software, don't use software, never use any sourcing software. We only use manual sourcing methodology with VAs. They use multiple sourcing techniques, and all the big sellers, people doing way more than 5 million a year in OA, don't use software. So just tell you that now. So is there any possible way to see how many FBA in a certain item in Amazon UK, just like with Amazon USA? Because I'm having a hard time to find FBA in Amazon UK storefront stalking. Yeah, so like tools like Seller Toolkit will not Seller Toolkit, Seller Amp, SAS, Seller Amp, Buybot Pro, FBA Multi Tool, all these kind of calculator tools, they all kind of show you the stock levels. Even Keepa, if you install Keepa, it will show you the stock levels if you go onto them. So yeah, like it will tell you how many units. The only exception is if the seller has limited the quantity to like 1 or like 10, it will only show you how many they've limited to. So the FBA seller might have like 100 in stock, but if they've limited it to like a purchase of 5 per customer, you'll only see 5. Seller Amp shows you like 5 plus to say that it's been limited, so it could be more, but you don't know. So yeah, just use one of these calculator tools, that really helps you out. Hi Thomas, any tips on reverse sourcing storefront? US sellers can search Walmart products to find a good storefront, but what do you ask UK sellers start with? Well, like, long story short, like, I wouldn't recommend starting with storefront stalking. I don't think it's a very good way of doing it. My advice would be like, just go find it, like, go to the Fast Track FBA top 100 suppliers, download that, look at like a couple of suppliers from there. You'll notice some big name brands, Argos, for example. Then go through those. Now start looking for products for those. And as you go through those products, you're going to spend a couple of days sourcing. As you go through those products, every time you find a deal, also have a look at all the other sellers on that listing by name, and what you're going to do is start just noticing who are the sellers who are going to find the same deals as you. Now, I would just take note of them. I wouldn't start stalking for at least 5 days. Why? Because like you might find one seller and he might be really bad, or he might be a wholesale seller and actually he just happens to have the one product that beats you. So you don't want to do that. You want to then like build up a picture of people who you're always seeing, and then once you start always seeing them, like after the first week, for example, then in the second week, you might choose them, go through storefront stalking, find some other deals, find those deals, reverse source them, find the suppliers of them. And again, when you find those deals, you're then going to you're going to look at who's on those listings. And you're going to just start building a picture of different suppliers or different sellers who are the same as you. Now, obviously, you can use them for a guide, and the whole point behind storefront stalking is everyone wants to open you up to new suppliers, see where everyone's sourcing, where you want to source. Let's be clear, storefront stalking is not a good way to source, and why? Why do I say this? Because number one, by doing it, you are naturally going to have more competition, and at the end of the day, you might be able to buy a product today which is profitable, but what we care about is when you sell it. So statistically speaking, increased competition doesn't deliver great sale prices. Number two is the fact that storefront stalking is inherently a delayed metric. So if I buy a product today and put it into my Amazon listing, it doesn't go live on my store until the stock goes live. So generally it's going to take 1 week, maybe 2 weeks before that stock goes live. So if I look at someone today and go, oh, wow, there's a stock on, they've got a new product in, cool. I'm now seeing that 2 weeks after they bought it. Odds on, it might not be on sale, it might be sold out. I think in Fast Track FBA leads, we identified that on average, most deals last about 9 days, before they go out of stock. So by knowing that, you're like, well, actually, storefront stalking is going to show me deals which are already gone out of stock or prices changed. So it's a lag metric. So in theory, you're either going to find deals which are in stock, they're going to have too much competition, or they've really gone out of stock and you're never going to find. So it isn't a great way of sourcing, but it can be a very good way to help you find new suppliers or identify which suppliers everyone's sourcing from by understanding where everyone's getting their products from. Even if you reverse source someone's store and the product isn't profitable anymore, you're going to start seeing the same stores popping up. Probably the price is out, changed, or the stock is out of stock. That's going to be beneficial for you. So storefront stalking, not perfect. It can help you, but I would really advise against doing it as a core sourcing strategy. It's just dangerous. What would you say is more effective? Keepa Product Finder for sourcing or manually sourcing certain finds? Okay, Keepa Product Finder is really good for reverse sourcing. Okay, look, let me put it this way. I would say manual sourcing certain sites. Why? Keepa is amazing once you fully understand how to use it, but I do generally believe is like, if I had to aggregate, let me put it, the way I kind of look at this question is, if I were to take 1,000 Amazon sellers right now who have generally just got started, what percentage of those Amazon sellers would be doing Keepa product finding and what would be doing manually sourcing sites? And I would probably say at least 90, if not 95, would be manual sourcing sites. Now, if we take that to the medium level, let's take, people doing 10K. They're not big sellers, but they're decent enough. 10K a month, they're doing fantastic. Now, I would still reckon that at least 80% of them will be doing manually sourcing certain sites, and that's what their VAs would be doing if they have VAs. Why? Because these people aren't stupid. They go where the money is and they go what works. So Keepa product finding might be a methodology they use, but they still do manual sourcing. So in my personal opinion, I would say manual sourcing certain sites is the best way of doing it, but I couldn't say for sure. I'm only assuming here.
Is there any way to get the buy box percentage data for a product free of charge? I know Keepa charges for the service. Keepa's not perfect, and I wouldn't Keepa's an approximation that isn't correct. The only real reason you can get this data is if you're on the listing selling the product. That's it. You could do a hacky one, which is very dangerous. You could list the product on your Seller Central. I think I've not tried it. You could FBM it and set your price really high so no one buys it, and then technically you're on the listing selling the product, and then you should start seeing the buy box data in your business reports. That's one way you could do it, but I wouldn't recommend doing it, because if you sell it and you haven't got the product, then then you got problems. So that's the only way I can do it, but it's not a scalable solution. So you have to be selling the product to get the buy box data. Keepa isn't perfect, and there's a lot of reasons why. Keepa samples the buy box at certain times. So say, for example, over a 24-hour period, if Keepa looks at that product only once, then you only know if the buy box has changed at that moment in time. It doesn't give you the actual true percentage buy box. It does it based on its sampling. The only person who gives you true percentage buy box is Amazon data, and that comes to the business reports, and that's back of house. And I would be led to believe that is correct. They don't kind of fudge it or anything. Bailey, when sourcing for new products, do you go with the 30-day average or the current buy box price? I don't do any, and it's two things. So no one really kind of talks about this, and I think it's something really quite key. What's the whole point behind Keepa? Keepa gives you a snapshot of the past to show you what's going on. So it shows you the sales rank, the buy box price, the new seller count, so all these kind of things. And why do you want to know this? Why? So we can make the best prediction of what the price will be in the future. Now, if the price has been consistent on the buy box for all time, fantastic. We'll probably use the 90-day average price. Nice and simple. But if the price is going, or the price has been pretty consistent, and so is the new seller count, but in the last 30 days, the new seller count has gone up by tenfold, and the price is now declining, well, the 90-day price would just be stupid. You wouldn't use that. You would look at that 30-day and look at the trend and see where it's going. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to use all this information from Keepa that you've got, which is to show you're using it to make a prediction. And your prediction is, what will the price be in 2 weeks' time? What will market conditions be when my stock lands? And if I think that those market conditions are still going to be favorable, then I will invest in that product. Now, it might be your strategy is I buy it, I ship it in 2 weeks' time, get it sold. Cool. You might be quicker. You might be able to, if you're doing FBM flips, my God, I might be able to buy a product today, FBM it tomorrow. Wow, that's going to work. That Keepa chart works for me. Or perhaps, you know what, my model is buying something today, reselling it in 3 months' time. I hold my stock. I'm looking at the Keepa chart. I like that increase. Why? Because I'm seeing the sales velocity is the same. But as I see the increase, I'm also looking at the stock counts, and they're not very high. Those stocks are going to sell out quick. So I think I will buy lots of this now. Why? Because everyone's buying it, and I can hold on to it. That stock's going to clear down very quick. And in 3 months' time, I can jump my stock in, and the price is going to go back up again. So long story short, understand your model, look at and use Keepa. Don't look at any one metric in isolation. Look at them together to do what? To understand what the market conditions will be, price, when your product lands. That's it. That's all you're trying to do. It isn't about any one metric. That isn't the answer.
Let's go on. Matt, I have a question on buy box. What I've seen is that if we put that if the price is not competitive to the other retailers and Amazon does not show it up on the buy box, why? It's called suppressed buy box. Look at suppressed buy box. Amazon scrapes other websites to find out the pricing, and if the other websites are $10 and you're putting yours at 25, Amazon's going to go that's not competitive. Amazon's whole brand promise is that we're cheap. We're probably cheaper than the marketplace. And if you're 25 and they're 10, that isn't going to lead to a good customer experience. So what Amazon do is they don't stop you from selling it, but they just don't make it available to click the buy now, the buy box. It disappears. So you have to click view all sellers and then buy that one. So they just don't want to make it easy for sellers, i.e. you, to get lots of sales at a ridiculously high price. So that's the reason why. Long story short, if you want to find out what the price needs to be, just keep slowly bringing the price down and find out. That'll help you out.
When looking at Keepa for sales history price, how far back do you go? I look at initially, then I'll always go back to 1 year. A classic example. Let's say, for example, today is January the 2nd. Cool, January the 2nd. And I'm looking at this product. And my God, the last 90 days, the sales rank is insane. This product is going to be the biggest flyer in the world. I'm thinking about buying 10,000 units, £2 profit per item, 30% ROI, not huge, but 10,000 units, £2, £20,000, hashtag excited. But once if I tell you that product was an advent calendar, and obviously in December, advent calendars do pretty well. But if you were to go back 1 year, you'd probably see that January and February, maybe not so good. I don't want to buy 10,000 items. So definitely look at the 90-day, but I would always just click on the 1 year, have a look at the Keepa chart, What am I looking for? I'm looking to see, are there any seasonal trends in that sales rank? Why? Because then I might need to do a further look at it. That's something super, super important. Obviously, an advent calendar is quite obvious, and even like an inflatable dinghy during summer is quite obvious, but there are going to be products where you don't really realize that they're seasonal. So hence 1 year is going to give you a good thing. And if you really want to know, I do click 1 year, and I probably click out all the time. I just want to see what's happening. And the reason why I do that is because in my mind, I think this product is a good product, and I want to look at all time, and I just want to have a quick look to go, is there anything over the all time graph that give me reasons to believe I should be worried? Like, look at all time, no, it looks fine, cool, move on. But I'm looking for like, whoa, look at that, like something weird's gone on. Like I might stop for a second, reanalyze, yeah, okay, cool, I'm going to carry on. Or no, I'm actually not going to buy this. So I do just kind of have a look.
The one thing which I'll say that no one ever really talks about is, what price should we take? Should we take the 90-day average? Should we take the current buy box? Should we take the 180-day, 30-day, whatever? The answer is none of them. You don't take any of them. And what you're really looking for when you're looking at Keepa tells you what's gone on in the past. But what you're really looking for is to analyze the past data to make a prediction about the future. The concept for you is stop looking at any one individual metric and say that's the one you need to look at. It isn't. What you need to do is you need to look at all the different metrics, put it together in your brain, and to say, where do I think it will be in 2 weeks' time? Why 2 weeks? Because 2 weeks is the time that if you buy this product today, that's probably the time your product's going to come on sale, and that's going to be the price that you're looking at selling at. So Keepa, you're going to understand the history of Keepa to understand the market conditions. Why? Because you want to use historic data to make a good prediction about the future, so that when your product comes to sell, you're going to say, given the past data in 2 weeks' time, do I think the market conditions on this product, given the Keepa information, is going to be favorable for me making sales? And if the answer is yes, then cool, buy the product. And the answer is no, then don't. And a good example of no would be, price is okay now, I'm making profit, but I can see the new seller count going up massively. So it might be a really stable price, but that new seller count is going insane. And you go, I've seen that seller count. It was 10, now it's 60. That price is going to crash very, very quickly. So I'm not buying it, even though it's profitable on 30, 90, and 180 day. So that's something to consider. Or it could be the case that 30, 90, and 180 day is really bad, like you're not profitable, but the new seller count is crashing, like absolutely crashing, not IP alert crashing, but just like really going down. So you're like, whoa, that price is going to come up in a minute, so I might buy it. So again, there is no one metric to consider. Think about the historical and then do it going forward, because you're trying to predict what the market will be like when you come in.
Right, what I'll say now is, after going through, should we say, those most common asked questions about sourcing products, you might want to consider about leveling up your sourcing techniques. And what I'll say is, do check out my Sourcing 101 playlist. I'll drop it around here. That's going to really help your Amazon business. Now, hopefully you like this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button down below. But for myself, Thomas Parkinson, Fast Track FBA, thank you very much.